Welcome, my dear students. We will be looking at the two reporting frameworks that are available that are proposed under ESG and sustainability reporting. And those two are the Global Reporting Initiative and the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. Actually, the discussion for GRI was much longer in the previous syllabus. There were, the specific disclosures, voluntary disclosures. There were a lot of details which were completely unnecessary because they never got tested. So glad to see that ACCA has addressed it with the new revision. The GRI standards essentially it provides a best practice for reporting on a range of economic, environmental, and social. So that's what you need to remember. GRI really mainly promotes the concept of reporting your economic performance, environmental performance, and social performance. So you can come up with any way to do that, but you need to make sure that if you have a global, if you are GRI compliant, and it is not mandatory, if you are GRI compliant, then you are really thinking about reporting economic performance, procurement practices, anti-corruption in terms of finance management. That's your economic angle. Environment, in terms of material usage, energy usage, carbon emissions, etc. Social, a few examples: diversity, equality, inclusiveness, human rights, customer privacy, data privacy, all of that. So if you are reporting all these three, then you are essentially trying to be GRI compliant. And that's what you need to remember. It's one of the frameworks that are globally proposed, and many companies have adopted as a model of reporting your sustainable or sustainability performance. United Nations Sustainability Development Goals were established by, of course, the global organization United Nations, and they proposed in 2015 17 goals, 17 sustainability development goals, and they said that it was to end poverty, to fight inequality and justice, to serve justice, and to tackle climate change by 2030. And what has happened is that they went extra steps further. For each of those 17 goals, they identified a set of targets. And not only that, they also came up with KPIs for each of those goals. They proposed KPIs, suggested KPIs, but doesn't mean that you have to really accept them. That's a different matter. So you can go through the illustrations. Here you go. So these are the 17 goals. You can see that it covers so much. There's so many things, from no poverty, zero hunger, to reduced inequality, to sustainable cities and communities, to land and life below water, life on land, climate action, peace, justice, and strong institutions, etc. So it's like it's a all kind of a mixed soup. And each goal is supported by a wide range of associated targets. So for all the entire 17 goals, there are 169 targets. And for all of those targets, there are KPIs, indicators, performance measures, which provide a quantifiable framework for assessing whether the goals are being achieved. So you can, if you adopt a goal, you have your targets set by the UN itself. And for those targets, you have the KPIs, again set by the UN, that you can measure to understand whether in a quantitative way, are you really achieving your targets. So that's quite helpful, isn't it? So this is an example. For gender equality, one of the example targets that they have is to end all forms of discrimination against all girls and women everywhere. Right? To end all discrimination against all girls and women. Example of indicator: whether or not legal frameworks are in place to promote, enforce, and monitor equality and non-discrimination on this basis. So the answer to whether or not, it could be yes, it could be no, it could be yes, some. So then what you do is you take a look at it quantitatively. You try to understand what kind of methods or measures are in place. You can do benchmarking exercises to see what kind of countries in the world, organizations in the world who are really compliant with this, to identify best practitioners and see what kind of gap you have, etc. So you can do a lot. So similarly, many examples are given, provided here. I think I'll take you through this example, the goal 12, responsible consumption and production. That's the goal. A target for that is by 2030, substantially reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse. Example of indicators: recycling rate, tons of materials recycled. Two perfectly measurable, very common and environment related, environment friendly measures that tell you exactly whether or how you are with recycling. There we go. So you can take a look at those examples. Okay. So if we really think about the measurement, the monitoring of the performance itself, a management accountant will be expected to track this and to report on it very well. They will have to capture reliable data, and they will have to benchmark against best practitioners or budgets that you've set. They will have to ensure information is required is part of the management information flow. So it means that what you learn is getting communicated to the decision makers, to the board of directors, to your senior managers, etc. And you have to present information in a way that it maximizes its usefulness. A bunch of information on an Excel sheet that nobody understands, it's not going to help anyone. That's a challenge that the management accountants will have. Additional information has been provided for you to read, so take a look at that. And that is the end of the GRI. And we will be moving into a more broader form of reporting to discuss integrated reporting in our next video. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.